how did your journey end up in New York City?
Hello, thank you, Dr. Z. I started as a student. I was, studying political science at La Sorbonne in Paris. And I met this amazing friend. He was coming from Lebanon and Senegalese, and he was very involved with fashion and photography, what I was not at the time. But living in Paris, I learned very fast, and we had this idea to develop this festival because I was coming from Normandy, and in this little city I was coming from, Trouville, you had a lot of amazing fashion photographers at the time, like Peter Lindbergh and Dominique Isserman and all. And we developed this idea to every year do a festival open to emerging photography, open to the master of photography. The French ministry was very excited, as well as at Kodak and Condé Nast and L'Oréal at the time. And we started in this small city, and after that, very quick, we traveled. We were a partner with Dentsu, and we traveled. We did the festival in Budapest, in Barcelona, in Tokyo, in Monaco, and so and so. And finally, one of our partners was Yves Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger at the time. And I wanted to try something in New York, and I went. I came to New York, and I was a curator of Yves Saint Laurent, 40 years of creation, exhibition downtown, and we did a book, and after that we travel again with the exhibition.
That's really, really amazing. So I know that you've worked with a host of high-end clients such as Yves Saint Laurent, Chanel, all these luxury fashion brands that everybody knows. So you see yourself as a futurist. So, I mean, that's a very interesting concept. How do you define a futurist?
Yeah, to come back to the source, when I started to slow down in New York after Yves Saint Laurent, 40 years of creation, I took a huge break, and I was thinking what will be next. Yeah. And a couple of people in this coming from the fashion and photographic world and media world say to me, you have something very intuitive about what will be the direction, how to develop theme, and you have a way to develop the narrative can be very interesting. Donc, outside the public life that I had very much for seven years, I decided to be more like in the back in some ways, and to really create more real creation. It means it's not reproduction, it's people who are able from scratch to develop an idea and also to produce. And it could be through through entrepreneurship, through writing, through teaching, through many things. And the real innovators are over there. It's not very much the creative, doesn't mean anything to me very much, but it's a connection of dream, innovation, the power of creation, but also the production, the whole process. The process is very important, and if you have a good ecosystem and community, you can achieve the process. Doesn't have to stay for always. I am always very surprised about people who say, 10 years or 20 years ago I did that. Yeah, it's amazing, but I don't value it very much. And it's good to not have too much memory about it. You can archive when it's a great job, you archive, but it's not living situation. No, it's not. You don't have to value. And sometimes for the youngest, I always say, I don't value, and perhaps it will be a shock, the experience so much, because everything changed so fast. What I value, it's the flexibility, the fluidity to learn, to be very curious, and I don't value to be right or wrong. It's not my way of thinking, because except if you are a surgeon that you need to be right. But in our field, it's more the experience in the way that you will feel, you will discover, you will be curious, you will be in the anticipation, and you are able to have a very fluid mind.
Of course.
That is very interesting to me as a value. That's something I would like to share.
I love that. I love how you define art mentality. Actually, during COVID, you know, when lots of people were having depression or having a hard time, you know, a very, you know, interesting idea from, you know, therapy, you know, is something called commitment and acceptance. So basically, you know, it addresses how human can be adaptive and flexible to the changes in a way that makes them more accepting, you know, the circumstances to be happy, for example.
Yes, no, but it's true.
Yeah, I think, you know, to be fluid, because these days, I mean, you know, we all coming from different aspects, different positions. How you define right or wrong, I mean, mainly depends on the circumstances, right? And it's interchangeable. It's not something, you know, set in stone. So and you were saying that you were always trying to look at, you know, you position yourself as niche.
Yeah.
As, you know, this niche market-oriented person. So, but these days, you know, this sort of mentality can be, you know, held by the mask. You know, people, everybody can have this mentality, you know, to be happy, to feel the sort of, you know, spiritual connection with arts, with, you know, different fashion goods. So in a way that it is niche, but I mean, it is a prestige to hold that mentality. However, I mean, it's something beyond the materialistic values. It's not something expensive, actually. If you hold the same sort of mentality, you can have the luxury experiences.
Yeah, it's like to me, haute living. It's very minimalistic, but it's my own experience of. Wellness, well-being, and haute living. People expect me because I consult in the field of luxury or finance or contemporary art, or I have a certain social life, that I am a very complicated or very sophisticated person. I am attracted by what we say in French, le beau, everything beautiful, like special. It's hard to define beau, but it's this idea of elevation, of meaningfulness. It could be more spiritual as well. Donc I am not too attracted by the wealth, but I understand it and I value it, and I value the success or the accomplishment. But yes, it's the idea the haute living is accessible for many of us. After that, you know, it's the access, it's what we call, you know, the marketplace and the access to, you know, valued objects or valued art or valued, but that you can be without it, because with technology, you know, you can enjoy now like arts, you can have access to it, you can virtually go to museum, you can virtually connect with an amazing mind, artist, film director. The sharing of experience is unbelievable, and I value what we do and what you invited me to do, and I am very thankful for that. It's a conversation, it's a sharing, and it's not that, to me, it's very, very important in our life to be able to have conversation, especially in regards of the very deep social and cultural transformation we need to have in terms of generation, of background, of culture, of politics, of, you know, diversity. All that is very, very important, and I value that because it's political, but it's also very individual, and it's a level of conversation, transmission, acceptance that we need to have to prepare the new world. Donc that makes sense to me, and where I am engaging, being what I call a niche person, it's also the fact that in my little, very humble way, I try to engage with like meaningful projects. Doesn't mean I am like, you know, very impactful, but I try to cultivate ethical projects and things that I value. At least I am happy to do them and happy to deliver, and I know I can deliver in a very honest way. Donc, it's all a part of the business, and I saw on your Instagram that you are anti-marketing or something like that.
Professor, yeah, but I position myself as an anti-marketing.
Okay, donc I never valued the world of communication and advertising. I think, and it's very harsh for me to say that, but I did it and I consulted for big advertising group. I always thought it will be an after, and the after is already here, like since 5-6 years. Acceleration with COVID. Everything needs to be, to me, very meaningful and authentic, and we don't need the marketing for that. We need creative content, we need designer, we need innovator, we need entrepreneur, but all the between people who just do transaction and transactional work, I don't attack them, but we don't need them. You know, it's better to speak for yourself and to build your project on your own. And for the consumer, they need to have access to the real information, not speak about, but you know, to have access, and it's direct.
It's very important,
that is very important. And come back to education, of course, with social media, it's very complex, fake news, information, influencers, everything. It's a mess for now, let's say. It's a mess.
For the younger generation.
Yeah, but in the future, I think by education, and also all this social media will be replaced by something also more powerful, different, and all. And it's like fast food, you know, at one point you consume, it's like your phone, you are on your phone 24/7, and after that you go on a different level. When I am very, very young people who are like 15, 17, some of them, they are on, you know, intermittent diet with social media, because it's very stressful and anxiogenic. But in the future, all that, you know, will improve. It's just like it was a rush, like when we had our phone, our first phone, or thing like that. Well, it will improve, yeah.
So this comes to my next question. So when you talked about, you know, how information is easily accessible by everybody, so this transparency, this sort of, you know, media exposure. So, you know, like traditional luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, so these are really prestige brands in a way that they try to maintain their exclusivity. So how do you say, I mean, how do you protect the people from the traditional niche markets, the you know, the consumers, you know, who love those sort of exclusivity, those, you know, who love, you know, what they have, you know, as you sort of prestige. How do you protect?
Yeah, alors, already for the brand, like the maison you mentioned, I think the focus has to stay on creation, innovation, craftsmanship, quality, and process. That has to be. Second thing I see, I am against globalization in the way accessible luxury makes everything accessible. You travel the world and you find exactly, it's what I say everybody knows, but to me, haute living and house like Maison Chanel or whatever, or even like people, artists and all, reproduction always is an issue. So you have to be reasonable enough in the business you are developing to be very extraordinary and to not force yourself on every product, and to respect the creator and the innovator, to just produce enough or produce for your consumer, you know, and customization will be something amazing, individuality. Donc for that, it's plus the immersion. I mean, I always speak about immersion, but when you go to a place, you have to really, outside the transaction, to be into, you know, the brand, discovering, feeling it. It's big, needs to be very intuitive and very connected, and it's go with the conversation and the culture. Donc all that is very important. And to be able also to serve very, very, very high-end clients, because, and that it's restrictive with beauty and fashion, because it has its limits, or bags, because you want to reproduce the bags and all. But you think about outside fashion and beauty, about territories like hospitality, about mobility, about high-end discovery of culture or territory or thing like that. You can create a real out-living experience. Food already exists in some ways, like it can be very extraordinary. It's the quality, the mind of the innovator and the creator will not be replaced by intelligence artificielle. It's not. It's stay. And the way you deliver that, and the absence of marketing and mixed media and stuff like that. You know, it's pure. It's direct. It's the experience. It's you can touch, feel, smell it.
Oh yes,
see it.
The sensuality that you were talking
sensuality.
About.
It's like, to me, ethical hedonism, and the more you go on very exclusive and very extraordinary, the more you go in the haute living and the experience of it and the transmission and the meaning. But also I believe as a citizen that this type of experience can be delivered in a different ways, but to also a larger group of people. It doesn't have to be such a difference of balance, you know, because high quality of food can be very simple, and we know that when you cook, it could be design of apartments can be very improved. Because why we have this type of design of apartment when you can have sensorial walls, when you can have odor diffuser, when you can have relaxing room, when you can curate your lights, when it's many things.
Wow.
Even for like a big group of people where, you know, you can have like different generation of people living in the same apartment because you will have access. Like somebody was a couple, you know, like for kids and for somebody very old, we know that the fact to touch will keep people going, you know, and through certain illness like Parkinson, but also Alzheimer's, specifically with Alzheimer's, the fact that people can still use their sense is very essential. Donc, I always have both. I am very attracted by the haute living, and it's the type of experience that I love.
So do you think essentially?
But also I think we need to deliver also quality living, covering the needs. And that can be served also by evolution of technology and a sense of meanings.
Yeah, I love that. I really love that idea. So do you consider sensuality as the key element for haute living?
Yeah, I consider, to come back to the notion you develop about happiness, I believe sensuality is part of that. Yeah. The fact you are still able to smell, to touch, to taste, all that, to listen, it's nourishing.
I guess it's
to
just
each
to be human.
It's who we are. And to engage with other people, it's the basics. But you need to do that with protection enough and covering your needs. For haute living, yes, it's fascinating, the field of possibilities, you know, and potential you can explore. And you don't have to take the plane for 30 hours to do that, or back and forth. It's not about that. It's the immersions you will have access in your home, in the place you decide to be, and what you can enjoy. You know, that will be impressive because it touches the imagination and the creativity and the sense of something amazing and beautiful and touching and emotion, and a sense for haute living of eternity, that, you know, you touch something outside the day-to-day life.
Yeah, I really love that.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for watching.
Bye.